Well, it says we're live, so let's go for it. Welcome, live from the Crossroads of America talk show about guns, politics, or anything else that crosses our mind. We'll answer questions from the audience, put it in the chat, or email me at rickslifeasiseeit@gmail.com or spottedrick@gmail.com. I'm broadcasting on gun channels and YouTube. All past shows, the audio files are on Podbean, iTunes, and Stitcher. This one will be on within 24 hours of the show ending. I have a Patreon page if anybody's interested, and even down below, if you just want to do a one-time payment, you can do it to a PayPal. It's all down there. So that's it. Just want to say who's in the chat. First was Snob's Wife and Jason Stewart and Two Live Moo. Sabrina's here. John Brown Productions. Good to see you all. And right now, my panelist at the moment is Kingpin. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Actually, a quick public service announcement to everybody out there on the YouTubes. I've been unsubscribed to about 20 channels today. One of them, a guy, his channel is Mr. Big Kid Channel. He put out a premiere this morning, and Rich White and I were in there watching it. Then he put out another quick 2-minute video, and I went back to watch it, and I was unsubscribed. So from like 10 a.m. Eastern to noon Eastern, I was unsubscribed from about 30 channels, which one was you too, Rick. I just had to resubscribe to you.
Wow. I better check some of my stuff that I subscribe to. Yeah. Hey, Yoda, Texas is here. I have to check into that.
I was unsubbed from Squibby. I watched Squib's coffee video earlier this morning, and when I went back to go finish watching it, I was unsubscribed. So in the middle of me watching a video, I was unsubscribed from somebody.
Well, maybe they thought he wasn't commercially viable, you know? I don't know. But it's I don't know what YouTube is up to right now. I really don't. It is strange. It really is. So, all right. I got one here for you that, besides the obvious, we'll get to politics in a little while, but it's a sort of political, I guess, in some way. Not really, is like, the left or the anti-gunners or, make it sound like you walk out your front door of your house where you live and there's shootings going on. Everybody's dying. There's a shooting at a school every day and everything else. And what they're doing is they're pumping fear into people, which is wrong, but where I'm going with this but we're doing the same thing on the pro-gun side. We're promoting fear. I'm not saying that we know what the left's trying to do, but good example. What made me bring this up is I have United States Concealed Carry Association. I've had that membership since I bought my first gun, and of course you get that magazine, and I'm flipping through it last night, and the guy in there goes, you got to have training, thinking that somebody busting in your house and you've got a gun, you're going to be able to protect yourself. That guy's busting your house has been in more fights than you, more likely had bullets already shot at him. He's more likely being shot, stabbed. He's not scared of you, but if you have training, you have a chance. So, when without training, the way it sounded to me like if you didn't have training, right, you might as well not even buy a gun because you ain't going to stand a chance, which I think is bullshit. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying don't train, But even in its own magazine, you flip a couple of pages further on, and it does the same thing that the NRA does in their magazine. Those little paragraphs saying, 86-year-old lady shot intruder into her house. Son protected his mom and dad from a house invasion. That 86-year-old woman didn't have training. That young teen didn't have training. The way he sounds, we need so much hard training is like we're going to be, all of us concealed carry holders should be, what's what I'm looking for? What they call a Navy SEAL, an operator. We're going to be the country's best operators. Which I think is a bunch of bullshit. That 86-year-old lady managed to take care of the problem. That young teen managed to take care of the problem. And there's hundreds of stories like that. I'm not saying they didn't have training. I'm saying not have training. Training is good. But to promote the fear that if you don't have it, you might as well not buy a gun. To me, you're discriminating against. What about the people in the inner city, the low-income people who can only afford to buy a high point, which they're reliable, but they can't afford hundreds and thousands of dollars to go get training. So what you're saying, they might as well not buy that high point and take the chance when they dial 911, the police are going to be there before the first bullet flies. And it's a bunch of crap. That's my rant of the day. You got any thoughts on that, Kingpin?
Yeah, the country's not that dangerous. The world isn't that dangerous. Statistically speaking, this is the safest time in all of human history combined. Today, right now, during this conversation, nobody else in human history combined has ever been this safe. Never. It's just a fact. Look at the statistics. Most of those people are just, trying to promote their business. I think if you want to get training and you want to learn some new stuff, you should go get some training. Or if you happen to maybe actually have some friends that might know a little something, have some of your friends show you some tips and tricks on what to do, and practice. You should definitely practice what would happen if your house catches on fire, or a bad guy's in your house, and your grandkids are visiting for the weekend. But to say that if you don't have training that you're helpless, well, I didn't run with Corn Pop, but I did used to run with some pretty bad dudes, and training didn't always help for the people that we ran into.
Yeah. Rich Wright in the chat here is going, most of the members of the militia that fought in the American Revolutionary War never had or underwent formal training, which is true. Patrick says that they push training hard is because they need customers. He says, I see training as going to the range and practice shooting. Do some low ready drills and you're okay, in his humble opinion. So, yeah. I go to the range and shoot and practice, best I can with, my limited mobility.
Look, if you're John Q nervous every time you hear one of the floors creak in your house, you get all paranoid. You can get trained from Steven Seagal and all the James Bonds in the world, and when somebody breaks into your house, you're still going to panic. So that's the thing that you better understand about training before anything is, how do you personally handle a scary situation?
Yeah, because if a scary situation, your adrenaline starts flowing. Either you're going to take care of the problem, or you're going to run and hide. So, I'm not saying now believe it or not, before, I've had some training. Not a great deal because of my mobility, but I've had some. Now, I've had some book learning training on the law side of concealed carry training, that kind of stuff. But but I'm saying, yes, if you want training, by all means take it. If you can afford it, go ahead and do it. But don't let these people say, "Oh, without training, you're not going to know what to do when somebody comes through your busting through your door or attacks you in the Walmart parking lot and stuff like that." You read all the time of stories of people who are everyday guys pulling a gun and defending themselves, and they weren't SEAL operators. There's normal people.
Yeah, if you're gonna get into some basic self-defense courses, I think that's very valid, because not everybody knows, the little trick to, if somebody grabs you by the shirt, how you can get their hands off you. Nobody knows certain other little things about where you should hide or what you should hide behind if somebody's shooting at you. Just simple, basic self-defense stuff. But if when people start getting into this training, you got to go train every once a year. The likelihood of somebody breaking into your house and you doing a tuck and roll and then a dive behind the couch and some tactical move, that stuff's probably going to end up getting you killed unless you're good at it. If you focus your life into it and you become that super soldier, then you can, jump off the roof and shatter through the glass to save the day like the SWAT team does. But if not, a lot of that stuff's probably going to get you killed.
Yeah, I think so. So Black Cat in chat goes, you can overdo it with training, but it gives you experience in dynamic situations and shooting under pressure. It can make a stressful situation much easier. Yeah, that's what I'm saying is training, I guess, stressful. Like I said, maybe you can control that adrenaline a little bit into the right direction, And I said, by all means, have it. But don't if you can't afford to go to James Yeager school, don't let that stop you buying that High Point if that's all you can afford for home defense or your personal defense, is what I'm trying to say. Get training if you can. As you said, go with your friends who got guns and get some tips off them. Learn, maybe they can show you some drills. Even Ghost Tactical on here. I don't know if he still does, but he used to do a month of the drill of the month video to show you how to do a certain drill, and that kind of stuff. If that's all you can do, then by all means do it. You don't have to be, a number one operator to carry a gun. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. I got nobody else in here to argue with but you, Kingpin, unfortunately. So,
well, we know Squibby would say pretty much the same thing, that, most of those instructors are out trying to get the cash out of your pocket, not really get you trained.
Black Cat says, laugh my ass off. Yeager is the last person I'd think I would go to. Yeah, me too, but it was the first name that popped into my head. I know there was a lot better. I would like to go to, what's his name, up in is it up in Oregon or up in Washington? Clint Black, is that his name? Thunder Ranch, or that one down in Arizona in the desert. It's a gun sites or something like that. Something like that, or even that guy who left Jaegers and started his own thing. What was it, Reed Henrik? Valor Ridge. Somebody like that. But those are big names and they're expensive. But I reckon if you went down to your local gun range or gun shop and asked them behind the counter, does anybody do training around here? I bet you there could be a local person that does it that you don't even, he's never hit the headlines, but he could be just as good as trainer as any of those. So, yeah, go on.
Can you see the internal chat, the internal ConTube chat?
Internal chat?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I can now. It just came up. Yes, you can.
Okay.
All right, where am I at? Let me bring this back up. Okay, there we go. Patrick says everybody needs to be Rambo. Come on. Yeah. It's just something that I just think, I just don't think, I don't know. I was reading that magazine and it just got me thinking, it got me upset to think the fear that they're trying to put into you, that you need this training, otherwise you're going to be dead. But then I said you flipped a few pages, then you start reading all these stories where this person done this woman done this kid done this to save the day. They didn't have the amount of training this magazine's telling you that you need just to survive.
Well, that's it. You got to have that survival instinct first. Like I was saying earlier, if you're a coward, and I'm not trying to be mean or anything like that, but if you're somebody who's totally scared every time the wind blows, you can get trained all you want, and it's not going to help you. If you don't have that, everybody's got the fight or flight, but some people just got flight and flight. It's not everybody's got the fight in them.
Yes.
So if you've got that fight part in you, then, go get some training and some classes and learn some new stuff.
Absolutely. I'm going back to what I'm saying. If you need training or you want training, go by all means take it. I really say that. But it's not mandatory to go take some special training to for you to be able to carry a gun or own a gun or have a gun in your home. It's good to have the training, but it's not necessarily needed, is what I'm trying to say. Because going back to the basics of the Second Amendment, right? It says we're allowed to have a firearm. Doesn't say anything, you can have a firearm only if you have training. So, I don't know. It was just something that got me. It was last night or the night before when I was reading this. I'm thinking, damn, I actually wrote that down on my pad here to talk about it. I was hoping you got some good points there, but it's a shame, like the rest of the people aren't in the chat here for we could have a good discussion on it. But never mind. I think somebody sent, what you call it? Did he check his email?
Yeah, I don't know if you see the chat, but I sent you the link, Black Cat, if you can still hear us.
Yeah, New York Outcast said, for most people, class will at least give you a bar to match or raise. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And I said, I've had some basic training, firing my firearm, firing from behind I had to move slow to get there, firing behind sort of like a wall type thing, and how to, and I had training how to draw from a holster, because a lot of ranges, especially indoor ranges, won't let you do that. Won't let you draw from your holster. I've had that kind of training. So,
Well, it also goes back to, the whole point of the situation is you have to know who you are. And if you get mugged and you're not a gun person, you're just an everyday regular normie, and you get mugged and you're like, all right, that's not going to happen to me again. I'm going to go out and get a gun. I'd probably recommend, if you don't have any friends with guns or know any place to go, find somebody to train to show you just the basics of a firearm. That way, you're not just a complete newbie out there.
Yeah, well, that's exactly what I did. As I said, I first, I didn't know anything about guns, And after I had my accident, I felt, that what am I going to do now? For the first time in my life, I felt, was it scared? Or I've noticed that I'm more vulnerable. Is that the word I'm looking for? Out there. So that's what I did. I went and had, actually, I went and had, because I didn't even own a gun at the time. And this was before they had it operated on my left hand. So I started shooting with my left hand, even though it hurt like hell. But as I've told people in the past, I was totally left hand dominant. I couldn't do anything with my right. So even I gritted my teeth and took the pain to shoot with my left hand. But it was a lady. Her name's Daria Bruno. She's out of Rhode Island. And she offered, how I found it, I was on the web looking for instructors, and her thing popped up, and she offered a thing. I think it cost me $200 for a 3-hour private one-on-one class. She supplied the gun, the ammo, the targets, and everything. I didn't. Since she was using that range I went to, she covered the cost because that range charged $25 an hour to use it in Rhode Island, and that was all included in the price. So I walked in there, and I went to her 3 times over a course of a year. So hey, Black Cat, good you can join us.
What's going on, Rick? I don't know how good my audio will be, but
no, we can hear you. Oh, and Blind Shooter's joined us too.
Hey, everybody.
Yeah, so you got any discussion there?
Well, I was just thinking, you said you took this class with this lady. Did you see a marked improvement in your shooting after taking it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That's my only point, is that depends on the skill set you're looking for. If you want to learn how to shoot on the move and stuff like that, stuff you can't do at a lot of your ranges, drills on your own, that I definitely see a big advantage to maybe taking a course where they have live fire, where you're moving and shooting and drawing from a holster repeatedly. It definitely will improve your skill set a bunch in a shorter amount of time than just probably what you can do yourself at the range. I mean, you're condensing a whole bunch of skills into like a couple hour long class.
Yeah. I mean, the first time I went into this lady, you got to also remember is I had never shot a handgun before in my life. I've never even held one. So I didn't know the first thing about a gun, So, yeah. So, I mean, I had that first lesson. Then for I think it was about 4 months, I was shooting. Then, of course, I had the operation on my hand, which screwed me up. So after about, I think it was maybe 9-10 months from the first time I had a thing with her, I went back to her for her to teach me how to shoot right-handed. So.
Well, see, and that's once again, that's the most important part about anything. I mean, how many of us buy something from the department store and get home and throw the directions away and try to figure out how to put it together? So you were aware of the fact that you didn't know anything about guns and you needed help. So you went out and sought help. If a lot of people will refuse to do that because, they were bad to the bone and they don't need nobody's help, especially some women.
Well, that's why they say men are harder to teach than women, because men want to have to follow the rules. They just want to do it on their own, whereas women actually want to take the time and be told, hey, this is the proper way to do it.
I've had more than one person that actually teaches training classes tell me that exact same thing. Women are by far the best students compared to men.
Yeah, I've heard that too. And actually, that lady instructor I had said that too. She says she said, because you didn't know anything. She said it was great teaching you because you had nothing to work with. So
It's no bad habits that you have to get rid of in the first place.
Yeah, yeah. So, but she said, yeah, she preferred. I mean, her. She. I mean, she's well known in the state of Rhode Island because she does. She would do. She done a ladies' night every week of the month, all year long, where it was nothing but ladies came. You know, and I mean, she supplied. I mean, like with my lesson where she supplied everything. She supplies everything to these ladies. You know, to try to get ladies into the shooting sports to become for home defense or personal carry and stuff. So, as I was saying, training is great, but don't. As I said, I mean, I was looking more of the. I guess I fall in that category now. You know, like me on a fixed income and stuff. I can't afford just to say, "Oh, I'm going to go pay $300 to take this training course." You know, I better not buy that gun until I have enough money for that course. I don't think, if you need the gun because you are fearing something, I would say buy the gun. Because I don't know how to explain what I'm saying. But what about you, blind shooter?
What's the question?
Well, I was talking about. Originally started off the magazine I was reading. They were, to me, even though they're pro gun, because it was concealed carry magazine, and he's saying, without training, you're not going to survive in a situation. Somebody busts into your house or you're attacked in a Walmart parking lot. But then I said you read stories where everyday people, an 80-year-old woman takes care of somebody busting in her house. A young teenager protects his parents. Stuff like this. They're not tactical operators.
Well, I mean, like, to an extent, I agree with it. I mean, they may not be tactical operators, but at least they had some sort of teaching to safely operate the firearm, which is good to know. Like, I'm not saying go out and buy the $200-$300 training courses at, tactical response or organizations like that. But at the same time, you can have all the guns and first aid kits you want, but if you don't know how to properly use it when shit hits the fan, you're going to be up shit's creek without a paddle. I mean, I got friends right now. I can hand them a 9mm loaded mag and everything, and they'll look at me as if, what the hell? They don't know what to do with it.
Yeah. I would think. Personally, I know they don't have to, but you would think the guy selling them the gun behind the counter in the gun shop would show them how to slap a magazine in and rack it. I'm not saying have bullets in the magazine or anything. You know what I'm saying? Just take it out of the box. Say this magazine goes in here, pull that, boom. Not just say here's give me your $400 or $500 and hand in the gun. Maybe that. Because every gun I've bought, that's what they've pulled it out. Except for the last one, the 380. I grabbed it before the guy could get his hand on it because I wanted to play with it. But every other gun I bought, maybe because I bought them all from the same gun store in Rhode Island, I said I didn't buy them all from the same store, but even the ones I bought online had them delivered there. Every one, they said, "You know how to operate this?" I said, "Not really, but I got a basic idea." But they would show me. Maybe they were the oddity and not the norm. I don't know.
There have been some instances where I've had that happen. When I bought my most recent rifle, the Mini 14, the dealer took it out because he needed the serial number off it to register it. And he's like, "Do you know how to use this?" I'm like, "It can't be that hard to figure out." And he took it out, handed me the magazine. He's like, "It goes this way, it goes that way. Here you go."
Yeah.
He's like, "There's an idiot book in here if you need it, but you're not an idiot."
Yeah. Now you're right. You got the book. I used the book to learn how to take it, how to break down the gun.
That's the only thing I use the book for.
Yeah, me too. And once I've figured that out, the book just gets thrown back in the box that the gun came in, So Midnight Range is saying bullshit. Training is wonderful, but people have been defending themselves for centuries with firearms without training. Training is better, okay, but the average person can use a firearm fine. Yeah, that's what I was trying to say, Midnight. So, yeah, go on.
I'll interject a little bit from my experience. I can say, just from people that I know that have bought handguns, you can use a handgun without having training. Even to defend yourself. I know people can shoot pretty well standing at the bench next to me. But now you ask them to draw from a holster and put 2 center mass and a target at 10 yards. And they'll draw from the holster and put one in their crotch and one over their left shoulder. You know what I mean? It's a skill set that you still, even if you're not going to take the training, there's some practice and some skill set that you should do. Because that's what I always tried to get across to my friends that want to get into it. The people that ask me is take them to the range. You need to take them somewhere where they can actually, even if they don't draw from a holster, put the gun on the bench in front of them and have them grab it and pick it up and present it. At least you're getting 90% of your draw stroke there.
Yeah.
That's the difference that I see. And that comes in like if you're going to defend yourself, home defense situation versus a situation where you actually have to draw your holstered weapon and use it. Especially if you're carrying something like inside the waistband where you got to sweep clothing out of the way and stuff. I can't, I'm out in public. I can't show you my draw stroke right now, but that's something that I've practiced literally tens of thousands of times, just dry fire practice.
That's
right. My draw stroke,
Yeah. I said I had that training at the range where you drew from the holster, but I do it a lot at home. As you said, dry fire practice. I use that eye target thing with the laser and the thing. So when I fire, I see what I'm shooting at,
Even if you don't have that, just hang a target on the wall.
Oh, yeah.
Get a snap cap. They're cheap. Put a snap cap in the gun and practice drawing and pointing at target and pulling the trigger. Drawing, pointing at target, pulling the trigger.
And I've noticed how much the next time I went to the range, I noticed how much better I was at doing it with real fire, with live ammo. And because and I noticed I was hitting the target better too, because that dry fire training works. I'm not saying just buy your gun and stick it in the drawer or stick it in the safe and leave it there and never, ever, ever touch it again.
Yeah, but there's a shit ton of people that think that's all they have to do. That's more common than I think most people realize. I mean, we're on here around a bunch of people that are actual gun people. The fact of the matter is most people own 1 or 2 guns for self-defense, and, they buy it, maybe take it to the range, punch a couple holes in the paper, and it goes in a drawer, and they don't think about it for the next 6 years,
Yeah, I get, yeah. You think there's quite a lot of people like that, huh?
I think there's way more people like that than people that are training whores. I'm not myself a training whore. I've taken like 2 classes in my life of actual shooting, but I've also shot competition. I've shot IDPA. I used to shoot bullseye. I mean, I've shot stuff that requires drawing from a holster. It's a skill set that I've practiced. So I won't say that I'm typical, and I shoot more rounds probably than typical people do because I have access to ranges. So it's a little different, Yeah. When you're doing that kind of stuff versus anything else. But I will say, in my experience and everybody else's experience I've ever talked to, those that have taken a training class have gotten a much higher level of capability out of it than they had before they went into it.
Oh, so I did too.
Yeah, there is an advantage no matter what your skill set. in a training course, you will get something out of it if you want to become better, a better shooter in general, or if you want to learn how to shoot under stress more. And there's things like an IDPA. If you've never gone to an IDPA match, that'll get you some experience at least shooting on a clock under stress. And you can sign up for them for like $5 or $10. And most places, if you show up, and it's scary to a lot of people, if you don't know anybody, but if you show up and say, hey, I've never shot a match before, I want to come and learn, somebody there will take you under their wing and show you the ropes, you know what I mean, tell you what you can do, what you can't do, and you'll get experience drawing from a holster and engaging targets. You're not going to beat the guys that have been doing it forever and are super fast. I mean, I think I'm getting on a ramble here. I think most people kind of overestimate their skill set, that they don't practice a lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was kind of the generality of it I was trying for.
Yeah. Oh, Grim90 said, at the shop, we will walk them into the range and spend 15 to 20 minutes if they are new, if they want. Or if they come in and buy a gun. Yeah. So there is more than one store that does that. So that's good. I
know at the ranges I go to. If you were there and I was at a range, I mean, I'm at a range usually 2-3 times a month. If somebody's new and asks me a question about something, I'd be more than happy to show them something on their grip or something like that, and there's a lot of people out there like that. I've met tons of people at ranges that would be willing to show a new person. I mean, you just can't be afraid to ask. If you know nothing about guns and you want to learn about guns, there's tons of people out there that you could ask,
Oh, yeah. Midnight Ranger saying, yes, I'm not saying you won't be better with training, but the average person can adequately defend themselves. Well, I think so, too. I mean, that's what I was trying to say. I mean, there's nothing wrong with training. I've even had it. But I'm saying you don't have to have it. Back to my fear thing, like these magazines and stuff, saying, without the training, you ain't going to make it. And I think that's wrong, just to get business. But I mean, but back to what I was saying, that's what the left is doing with, I mean, every time you send your kid to school, he's getting shot at. If you listen to them.
Most criminals are just as unsophisticated as most people who are going to be robbed by that criminal. I say it all the time. People think that the criminal on the street right now is from a James Bond movie, and they're not. If they were, the prisons wouldn't be so full.
True. I agree with you. I'm not saying that. I mean, you're right. Most of them, it's hard to. Yeah, there ain't no other way of wording it. I was trying to think of a different way of explaining it, but that's good enough. That works. Midnight Range said, believe him, Black Cat has shown me his grip, and it was delightful.
I have a Kung Fu grip, actually.
Yeah. So, anyway, you want to talk any more about that, or should we move on to my next topic? I got a few here.
Let's roll.
All right, my next one I was reading. Did you know that I can't think of the name? I mean, I was headline surfing, so I don't know the names of certain things. There was a poll done that Democrats buy Levi jeans and Republicans buy Wrangler. Did you know that? And the reason for that is because now we buy our clothing, according to the survey, based on our political beliefs. Like most pro-gun people won't buy Levi's because they're anti-gun organization, where Wrangler doesn't say either way. That's what this survey was saying. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I've always, personally myself, before I even got guns, I always bought Wrangler because I prefer them. Because I, personally myself, that I was thinking. So, But then again, you think about that. If, like, because Walmart done this, we're not going to sell handgun ammo anymore. Some people are determined not to go use Walmart anymore. So that's just going to be left to the the other side. That's going to become a lefty store now. So if you're on the right, you don't use Walmart, which I don't believe. I still go into Walmart because it benefits me on my fixed income and stuff. So. But do you buy clothes, Kingpin, based on your political views or beliefs?
When a store does something that's pretty outrageous, I will. And take it from me, firsthand advice: be very, very careful when you shop with your morals, because there's not really many places around where I live at that I can shop at, because one place is a huge Planned Parenthood supporter, the other place is anti-Second Amendment, and the other place, it gets pretty difficult after a while when you start being as picky as that. So I urge caution. I don't say don't do it, but be prepared to do it in full. Because just because you won't go to Walmart because they don't like guns, are you going to go over to this place that doesn't mind chopping babies' heads off, or doing something else that you disapprove of? So you got to be very careful, because your favorite place in your town, one day you might find out what the owners are like.
Yes, you're right. And that, I'm trying to think of who it was now. Then there was some place that I really liked, and I found out, as you said, the owners weren't 2A friendly, and that really, that came as a shock, and it sort of hurt me, But did it stop me from using the store? I don't go. I'm trying to think who in the hell it was. It was in Rhode Island, But I stopped going in there as often as I used to, but I still used it, So, what about you, Blind Shooter? Do you use stores, on your political beliefs or morals or anything like that?
Yes and no. I try to stick with the name brands I know are pro Second Amendment. When it comes to like jeans and stuff, I use KAHR, KAHR, and I don't go to the big name brand stores like Walmart unless I'm just going there to pick up on the single moms. But where I normally get my clothes from, the guy, it's a small mom and pop store, and he's pro Second Amendment. But if I need stuff for like gym or when I'm out running races, I'll stay as far away from Nike as possible.
Yeah. You're right. Okay, here's a question for everybody out there. To me, I wear, how do you pronounce it? Is it Sketcher on my tennis shoes or sneakers, whatever you want to call them?
Yes, Skechers.
Yeah, is that company pro-gun or anti-gun?
Yeah, they're kind of on the fence. I haven't said either way.
Oh, okay. Because that would bother me. It doesn't mean I'll change from using them, but I won't. I wouldn't recommend them to anybody. Let's put it that way. So that's like my satellite TV. They gave me these bunch of channels when I first started. Then they changed the rules on what you got for how much, what bundles were what. They came up with a new set of, what you're paying, that's your bundle, and they changed a bunch of the channels that I don't get anymore, and it pissed me off. That's the only TV I have, so I have to use them. Plus, I signed a contract, right? But I don't recommend them to anybody. And when they keep sending me a survey every month, and I put 0 on every question, and so that's how I do about it. What about you, Black Cat? Do you buy your clothes on preference on which way they affiliate?
I wear my jeans, I usually wear Carhartt jeans. I have no idea what their politics are, to tell you the honest to God truth. I never looked into it. I won't shop at businesses that are blatantly anti-gun, but I order most of my clothes on Amazon because I hate shopping and going out into public and doing that.
Me too. I am glad internet clothes shopping is is sophisticated. So I can shop here, and if it doesn't fit, you can send it back, no problems.
That's exactly it. I buy everything I can online.
Yeah.
That said, I have to run in a freaking department store here to get something for my mom for her birthday because they only sell it at one freaking store. Why does old ladies have to wear perfume that hasn't been made and is only sold at one place? Like, no place carries it. Everybody's, they don't. I didn't even know they still made that. I'm like, well, she's almost 80 years old. What do you want? She's probably been wearing it since 1953.
Yeah. Oh, Rich Wright was saying Levi's aren't what they used to be. He shops for jeans that Tractor Supply. You can get some good jeans at what's the big Rural King. That's what we got out here in Indiana.
I'm just going to go ahead and hop out on a limb just for a quick second. But Jeff Bezos, it probably isn't the most Second Amendment supporter out there. The people who run Twitter and Instagram and Facebook and all that kind of stuff probably aren't the most. I mean, it's clear they're not the most freedom of speech and freedom of Second Amendment and all the other Bill of Rights people out there. So,
you're right. You're right. So basically, we're being, if we say we aren't going there because of their political stance, but we're sitting here using Amazon and using the internet, using YouTube and Facebook and Twitter. We're being a hypocrite.
Well, that's why I say be careful when you start determining where you're going to go because of your political and moral beliefs against other places, because eventually you're going to run into a spot. What happens when the gas station down the street from your house and you live, that's the only gas station within 100 miles, puts up a no gun sign?
Oh yeah.
I mean, so I'm not saying don't do it wherever you can. Protest with your money as much as you possibly can, but be careful.
Yeah, don't fight your face.
That's why concealed means concealed, right there.
Yeah, exactly.
Right on.
Yeah. Okay, another article I was reading, is that shooting, that school shooting, was in California, where he supposedly used a ghost gun. Right now, that's got the anti-gunners up in arms. So that's going to be to me, this article is saying that is going to be and I agree with them, the new thing they're going to hit on now is ghost guns. We've got to stop people from buying these guns because they don't have serial numbers on them. So how can we track them? Well, excuse me, under the Second Amendment, you can't have a registry of my goddamn guns, but certain states still do that. They, here in Indiana, my guns all my guns are ghost guns because they don't have no registry of them. But I mean, they have really, because I don't believe, like when we fill out the 4473 and it stays at the gun store, I mean, that has the gun and the serial number of that gun on it. And I don't care. The government has got a list of all those things. I honestly believe it. So I don't know. What do you think, Kingpin?
Yeah, I think that the government knows every time they want to go into a gun store, they're going to give up any kind of paperwork that the feds want, and the feds are going to copy whatever they want, and nobody's going to do anything about it.
Yeah. Now, Maryland, if you buy a gun, is the gun registered?
The handguns, you're not allowed to do a private sale on a handgun. So all handguns, pistol. So if you build an AR pistol, it's got to be registered. Rifles are just your basic 4473, and then you have private sales on rifles and shotguns that you can do.
Okay. And I know you and Blind Shooter in New York. They've got you by the short and curlies.
And then some. It's like I made in my handgun video when I first started doing YouTube videos. When you go to purchase a handgun, you have 72 hours from the time of them putting it into the NICS database to bring it to police headquarters for them to register it and put it on your permit. And it doesn't matter if you bought that gun on a Friday afternoon and Monday's a federal holiday. If you are not down at police headquarters first thing Tuesday morning, best believe they're knocking at your door looking for you.
That's going to be definitely unconstitutional. It really has.
It is, but it's an uphill battle and the hill is covered in wax, so we don't have much room to work with.
Yeah. You're right. I mean, you live in a pretty free state there, don't you, Black Cat?
I think he's at the store. He can't answer you.
Yeah, maybe. But, I was saying, though, but that's from what I understand, that's going to be the next thing the Dems are going to, because I think they're still going to mention the AR-15s and stuff, but now their big push is we got to get rid of ghost guns. Maybe all get rid of selling gun parts online, and all this kind of stuff. I think that's where they're going to try to go. Whether it go anywhere, I don't know. But, I don't know. I mean, I was going to bring this up. It's not a topic, but I'll put it with, good example. I hate to say it, but the impeachment things going on the last couple of weeks. I've watched them. Not every one of them all day long, but I've sat there for a few hours and watched one of them, and I'm listening to it, and I'm saying, well, that's only hearsay. They're presuming this. They're saying, well, so-and-so told me this. I'm thinking, they ain't got nothing. But then you hear the left, and we've got him. They said he did it. And I'm thinking, are they watching the same shit that I'm watching? Because they got a totally different viewpoint of what was broadcast. So where I'm going with this, like with the anti-gunners going ghost guns, we got to get rid of them and stuff. People are going to believe it. That's the scary part. So,
yeah, propaganda is the most powerful tool that you can use. If you use it properly, you don't even have to have any guns. Just can make people think what you want them to think, and you won't need a gun.
Yeah, I said it with a famous quote. I don't know. I'm not sure if I'm quoting it correctly, but if you tell the lie enough times, it becomes the truth.
Well, then, I think that's what the left is banking on. That, hey, if we say this enough times, those who know nothing about firearms are going to believe what we say, and they're not going to listen to the other side. And then as far as the whole ghost gun thing goes, they're going to try to ban the sale of the parts to make it. And to an extent, they'll probably succeed.
Yeah, they want to ban, the 80% lowers and stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But what they're failing to realize is any Tom, Dick, and Harry that has a good mill and 2 brain cells that they can put together is going to make their own parts anyway. I mean, we can go as far back as the Oklahoma City bombing. Did they use actual bombs? No, because you can't buy a bomb off the internet. But you can go to Home Depot, Harbor Freight, Lowe's, and buy the products that are needed to make a bomb. So technically, there's not a whole lot you can do.
Yeah.
You forgot to say allegedly.
If anybody sues me, I work with a lawyer.
I'm good.
Yeah. You're right. It's a crazy world out there. Oh shit! It's 4:00. I still got a couple of more topics. I got at least one more topic that I want to talk about. But quiz. I had 3 entries. Only 2 were right, and that was for my, swag pack. That was some stickers and some patches and stuff in my box here, ready to go. And the question was, I wanted to know a corner shot is a weapon accessory. I wanted to know what it was and who invented it. Well, its purpose is similar to that of a periscope rifle. It allows its operator to both see and attack an armed target without exposing the operator to a counterattack. It's like you can put it around a 90-degree quarter. It has an attachment on the end of your rifle that you can turn, and it has a camera for you can see what you're shooting at. From what I understand, from what I saw, but anyway, it was invented by a Lieutenant Colonel Amos Golan of the Israeli Defense Force. Is what I wanted to know. So, okay, where's my random picker? Here it is. My 2 names in it. Let me hit the button. Yoda, Texas is the winner. There you go. You won that. Now, on for this week's. Now, this week, I think it's a tough question, but I could be totally wrong. So, this is a hell of a package. I mean, I've got 1, 2, 3 patches, a bunch of stickers, and all that. And as a extra thing here, care of Midnight Range, I've got these pins. It's got a thing on the back where you can pin it onto your shirt or whatever. Don't tread on me things. So that goes in there too. I mean, that's as good as a patch. Okay, now listen up, guys. This one might get you. I think I might stump you on this one. And if you haven't, it's to do with a movie. And if you haven't seen this movie, you need to go see it, or not go see it. You need to rent it or find it and watch it. It's a British gangster film made in 1980 called The Long Good Friday. And, I mean, it starred Bob Hoskins, Helen Mirren, right? It actually was voted it was Long Good Friday was voted number 21 on the British Film Institute's top 100 British films of the 20th century. So it's a great movie. It really is. But what I want to know, in that movie, right, Pierce Brosnan, in his very first feature film role, I want to know what weapon he was carrying in that film. There you go. Nice and simple. You either got to watch the movie or dig it out on the internet, like I did.
Yeah,
so
I posted him a link as a hint.
What?
I said I even posted him a link for a hint.
Oh, you did? Okay, but so yeah, I mean, you're making it. See, you're giving it to him, Kingpin. But email me at Rickslifeasiseeit at gmail.com or spottedrick@gmail.com and get it into me by 12 noon Eastern time next Saturday. for that. So there you go. That's it. So that's it. But anyway, all jokes aside, The Long Good Friday, if you can find it, you ought to watch it. It's a pretty good movie. It's got a fantastic ending, I think. So the link went away. Yeah, Kingpin, they moved it. You had your chance, guys. If you didn't get it, too bad. So, all right. My last topic here. Virginia, as we know, it turned Democrat in the last election because personally, from the voters didn't get out and vote because it's mainly I was listening, or did I read it? The actual state of Virginia actually has more Republicans in it than it does Democrats, or pro-2 people than it does non-pro-2 people. So they should have never been able to take control. But people didn't get off their ass to go vote. But where I'm going, that's not the argument I'm going about is, but you have this thing where they're going, we're becoming a 2A county sanctuary. You know, realistically, right? If Virginia makes, or any state, say they make a law that says you can only have maximum of 10-round magazines. And, then they start coming in. I mean, so you're not in a county. So the county, you're going to move to a county because you can have a 15-round magazine. And only, if I live in this county, I can only have a 10, right? It ain't going to happen. It ain't going to work. Or am I missing the point here? Anybody?
As long as you don't get involved with the state police, then your county can be all the sanctuary at once. But if you get pulled over by a state cop, the state cop doesn't care about what your county says.
That's where I was coming from. I mean, if a state trooper comes in, it doesn't matter, as I said, what your county says. Well, my county's a 2A county. I can have a 30-round magazine. No, state law says you can't. My state law trumps your county law.
Plus, most of it, I mean, Black Hat will probably know a little bit better about like how the laws work for that kind of thing. But even your city police department, like your metropolitan or your municipal police, they still work for the government. The sheriff is the one that would basically call it a sanctuary county or not, right? I mean, I guess that's just my understanding of it.
Yeah, are you back yet, Black Cat?
Yeah, I'm here. I don't know. It depends on how stuff is structured in your county and in your state. You know what I mean? Who would be in charge? Who the chief law enforcement officer would be? In PA, technically it's considered the sheriff, but they don't have as much power as they do in some other states. So, like, my sheriff could declare whatever he wants, but like it depends on the way your laws are set up. Like in PA, we have preemption law. So basically, preemption law is no city, state, municipality, or no city, borough, municipality, anything like that can make any gun laws over and above what the state law is. So you couldn't make one good or bad just for your county. It would have to be done at the state level.
Yeah. So if a county in Pennsylvania said we're a 2A sanctuary county, and the state put out, say, 30-round magazines aren't allowed anymore, it doesn't matter what your county says. The state law says you can't have them.
Exactly.
It would all just come down to the sheriff's department not prosecuting you when they catch you with it.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing I can think of is that county's police department, they pull you over or whatever, and they see that you have, you've been down to the range and you've got a a range bag full of 30-round magazines, and they don't say a word. They just let you go. But if state cop pulls you over and he sees those 30-round magazines, he's writing your ass a ticket and taking you to jail.
Here's the thing, though. Like, you look at the county that I live in Pennsylvania, there's probably 5 or 6 local police departments. You've got the sheriff's department and the state police department. So who's prosecuting you? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It would depend on who. You'd have to have all those departments agree all at the same time that we're not enforcing this law. So it's not ever going to happen,
Yeah. I mean, I understand what Virginia is doing, but to me, it's not enough, and it's too late. You should have thought of all about this instead of sitting on your ass and not getting out there and voting. You lost your majority. And when's their next election to change state people? A couple of years? So.
I wonder what happened. What if your magazines were just traveling and not shooting?
I don't know. That's a good question.
All my 30-round magazines identify as single-round magazines.
Yeah. What if they're sovereign magazines? They're not carrying rounds. They're just traveling.
That's right. There's traveling magazines. So, I just think that goes back to the question. I guess it goes back to the question what the Patriot was saying a couple of weeks ago. We all talk a good game, but when it comes down to it, we're law-abiding citizens most of the time. I mean, what's it really going to take for us to say enough is enough and that's it? I mean, if they come to you, for argument's sake, police department comes to your house, are you really going to sit there and start shooting at them? Or are you going to follow the law? They have
Here's the thing. Them going door to door is not ever going to fucking happen. They'll just make it illegal and wait for everybody to bury their guns in their yard, and then you can't use them anyway. And
yeah.
The people that get caught driving around with one and stuff, they'll arrest and make an example of. They're never going to go door to door and confiscate shit because they know that won't work because it will lead to people getting shot and hurt. And you even listen. I know certain cops that'll tell you that, nope, I'm not going through that door. You know what I mean? Nobody's going to get killed over it. That's not the way it'll work. It'll work just like the last assault weapons ban. They'll make it illegal, and shit will just go underground like it did the last time. There ain't nobody turning in shit. Look at the turn-in rates for like New York State when they passed the SAFE Act. Nobody turned in a goddamn thing, Or look at even New Zealand. New Zealand, they're making threats again now because they made threats and nobody turned shit in.
Well, that like what they're going to start doing is what they're doing here in New York with the permit renewals when they already have you on database saying, hey, John Smith's permit is up for renewal on this day. Like, for example, I'll use myself. My rifle permit expired on October 31st. Months beforehand, I did all the necessary paperwork, waiting. The 31st came and went. I never got the permit. It didn't come till 3 days later. So technically, I was in violation of New York City law by having my rifles and shotguns since I didn't have a permit. And a lot of other people are getting caught with that too, saying, our permit's expired. You haven't given them to us. What do we do? But those people aren't smart enough keeping the emails going back and forth saying, don't worry about your expiration dates.
You've got mail.
Yeah. But you finally got yours, thank God. So,
thank God. But what I'm saying is, like, I'm not going to put it past the anti-gunners and certain municipalities to start doing that, where if you're issued a permit to own a gun or to conceal carry in, if it expires on a certain date, oh, well, we're backlogged. We'll give it to you when we can. And then magically you get a knock at the door from, the local sheriff's office saying, hey, our records indicate your permit's expired. You haven't renewed it. You have guns. Hand them over.
Oh yeah, I can see that happening too. I can see that happening too. I mean, that's the same thing as I'm trying to think. What is it? Like when you do is it your taxes or something? That ignorance is not an excuse for doing something. So yes, you might have. I mean, you should have made sure. Yeah, they were backlogged, so you should have applied for yours earlier. Or you wouldn't have been caught in that backlog. They'll come up with some shit like that. They came to your house.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's backlogged, you should have known better. You should have applied a couple of months earlier than you did.
Well, that's like that story with the veteran in New Jersey. I don't know if you guys cover that one at all.
No, go on.
Oh, okay. Long story short, guy was a Marine, did I think it's like 2 or 3 tours overseas, got medically discharged because he got hit by an IED, and his buddy sent his footlocker back home to New Jersey with him. So with his PTSD and stuff, he didn't want to look through it, so he just kept it hidden in storage at the house where him and the girlfriend lived. Well, him and the girlfriend got into an argument. She was trying to take custody of the child, turned around and told the officers, hey, he's in possession of quote-unquote high-capacity magazines. They came and checked, and lo and behold, he had 2 30-round magazines from his M1 that he didn't know about. So he's looking at 32 months in jail for something he didn't even know he possessed.
And is a felony charge, or never be able to own a gun?
Exactly.
Yeah. So I hope somebody like one of the pro-gun organizations are helping him. Because that's under that red flag law, right?
It's exactly what it is. It's a red flag law that he's getting charged with for something he had no idea that was in his possession.
Yeah. I know that's all it takes. It don't take much. And I was listening on the radio the other night. I mean, Florida have implemented over 2,400 and something odd orders on red flag laws already. I mean, it's only been going, when was the shooting? 2017?
Maryland had 130 red flag orders issued in the first month. And one of them, a guy got shot and killed. Yeah,
that one I know about, But yeah, they're bad. They're bad. They really are. And how do we see? Problem is, like, back to, I'm using Virginia as an example. They're going to come up with all these gun laws. Once the law is made, it's harder to get it removed than to get it put on. That's the problem. I mean, it's like what's the old saying? It's better to ask for forgiveness and ask for permission to do something. You know what I'm saying? It's the same principle. They're going to put these gun laws on the book. Like these states that have red flag laws are there. It's going to be harder to get them removed than it was to get them voted in now. Ohio 45 says you can watch The Long Good Friday on YouTube. There you go. It's a great movie, I'm telling you. It really is. I might watch it again myself, thinking about it now. So, anybody got anything else they want to talk about? Oh, I know what I forgot. The cut of the week. Yeah. Yeah. I'll be honest with you, I didn't even think about it. Let me go through my head here. Oh, I was talking about this the other day. It wasn't the official thing, but it was to do with turkeys. Was it last Saturday or Wednesday? How to cook a turkey, and a lot of people won't do it. Is when you cook a turkey, most people stick it in the pan with the breast side up, right? And they stick it, that's because that's how it comes. That's how it sits in the wrapper or whatever, or the box or whatever you get it. That's how it comes. But the best way to cook it is to lay it on its breast. For when it's cooking, all the juices flow down and through the breast. Now, the key is when you put it in the pan, is to raise it off the bottom of the pan. Like use a cooking rack in the bottom of the pan, or if you haven't got one, use some celery sticks because it takes a while for those things to go soft. They're hold up. It's because what you want to do is you want to get it off the bottom, because when all those juices run through, you don't want the breast sitting in the grease in the bottom of the pan. That's good. So you let it drain that way, baste it that way, whatever. The last 30 minutes, flip the bird over for it'll brown the breasts. Pull that out. That'll be the moistest turkey you ever had. Also, I'm a believer in low and slow cooking on anything, from beef, pork, chicken, turkey. I believe low and slow, because I'm of the old school. Is if you do it at a high temperature, then drop it down and cook it slow. If you screwed it up, right, you cannot take the wellness out of the meat. But if you've undercooked it, you can always put it back in.
Rick, please stop. I'm trying not to say anything here, but you just had a whole conversation about juicy breasts and your meat and everything else, and I'm trying so hard to keep this as a PG chat, and you're just tempting me. I can't.
I checked on that thing on YouTube. Not suitable for children.
That's good, because I don't know how much longer I can take this.
Well, anyway, that's my cut of the week tip. So there you go.
I was waiting for someone to chime in about it.
That's my nickname in school. Patrick says the best way to cook a turkey is deep fried.
Make sure it's still frozen when you dip it in the deep fryer, though.
That always leads to some excitement.
Oh yeah, that definitely would. Yeah, you can. If I've never had a deep fried turkey, so I don't know. I'm just going on traditional cooking, in the oven with a turkey. So that's my cut of the week or tip of the week when it comes to meat. Be honest, and I only done that because, to be honest with you, I forgot all about coming up with some steak or chop or something to talk about. So I will make sure I get one for next week. So don't forget, on my question, I want to know what weapon Pierce Bronson used in the film The Long Good Friday. So that's it. I thought it was a tough question, but I've already got. Let's see, where's my thing here? I've got 1, 2. I've already got 3 entries so far. So some people are, looking it up. Oh, what's we got here? Yeah, that's right, Black Cat. So on your answer, I see that in there now. I didn't even look down there. I keep forgetting to look at the private chat. So, all right.
You're too fixated on the juicy breast to look at the privates?
Yes. I'm going to wind this up and, go feed my pussies. And,
Rick, you're going to make Black Cat crash his car.
I almost peed myself halfway through the turkey conversation.
Well, I'm glad. I'm glad I got somebody to laugh out of it.
So, sorry, I have the mentality of a 12-year-old. You should know that by now.
Yeah. So anyway, I will be here next Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. And I'll be back again on Wednesday at 7 p.m. shooting with disabilities. So, and I've said this every show. If anybody's got any questions they want asked, email me them, and I will bring them up in that next chat. So, it helps me. It helps me help you if you guys help me that way. Because this is a one-man operation here. I do it on a shoestring. So I just wanted to just let you know. So, all right. I'm calling it quits. Anyway, Kingpin, any shout-outs or plugs?
Have a good night, everybody.
All right. Black Cat, any shout-outs or plugs?
No, not at the moment. Thanks for having me on there, Rick. I appreciate it. It was fun.
Yeah, I appreciate you being here. Blind Shooter, any plugs or anything?
And not this week, Rick. Thanks for having me. Always appreciated. And to all those out in the chats, if you're not on Wednesday, have a happy Thanksgiving and enjoy shooting a turkey in the face.
That's right. Don't forget your juicy breasts. All right, let me end it now. So what I'll do is I'll say good afternoon, and I will see you at the next show. All right, ending.